3位は
This is JoJo Character Bios, the series where we give you the full biography of a JoJo character and their abilities. For our first episode, we will be covering Weather Report from Part 6, Stone Ocean, so be warned, there will be heavy spoilers for the entirety of Part 6's story. Weather is a mysterious ally of Jolene's group, an amnesiac. He seeks to find his missing memories using his stand, also named Weather Report, and its powerful ability, Heavy Weather. Early life. Originally named Domenico Pucci and younger fraternal twin brother of Enrico Pucci, Weather was swapped at birth by a woman whose own child was stillborn. In the care of this new mother, he was given the name Wes Bloomerine, with the Pucci family assuming him dead, unaware that the swap took place. Weather worked as a delivery boy in his teenage years. During a routine delivery at a restaurant, Weather stopped a thief from stealing Perla Pucci's bag and ultimately began dating her, not knowing that she was in fact his long-lost sister. During a confession at church, Enrico Pucci learns that Weather is his brother Domenico. As a priest wanting to keep this confession a secret, Enrico enlists the help of a private detective agency to force the two to break up. This detective agency ends up being a racist organization that finds out that Weather's adopted mother married a black man, and subsequently attacks him and Perla. Weather is hung at a tree by a cliffside, and Perla, not feeling a pulse on him, jumps off the cliff to her death. While Weather is unconscious, Enrico is pierced by the stand arrow, awakening his stand. This unknowingly awakens Weather Report's stands as well, through their familial bond. Weather spends the next few days distraught, attempting to put himself in situations that will kill him. Weather's stand also activates raining snails all over the town. After 4 days of Weather's unsuccessful attempts at dying, his brother meets him in the middle of town, and after telling him the truth about his heritage, removes his memory disk, using his own stand Whitesnake. Now an amnesiac, in the ensuing years he takes on the identity Weather Report, eventually being imprisoned in Green Dolphin Street Prison in Florida for attempted murder. Main Stone Ocean events. During the events of Stone Ocean, we meet Weather as someone who is completely unaware of his past, and seeks to help Jolene deliver Jotaro Kujo's stand disk to the Speedwagon Foundation. He displays his abilities to control the weather to the group by knocking over pens using a miniature rain cloud. Weather and Jolene then combat Lang Wrangler in his stand Jumping Jack Flash, a stand that causes anyone who is spit on to become the center of their own zero-gravity environment. This leaves its victims disorientated, with an air vacuum being created 20 meters around the victim. This not only sucks blood out of the wounds, but also causes suffocation. Weather uses his abilities to create cloud suits that hold in the remainder of their air supply. Weather and Jolene work together, and by using their abilities in tandem, defeat Lang Wrangler. In the prison courtyard, Jolene is shot at by a guard controlled by Whitesnake. Weather uses his abilities to rain down poisonous frogs and stop the guard. Because of this, Jolene is able to successfully deliver Jotaro's stand disk to the Speedwagon Foundation. Weather is brought to the prison infirmary due to his injuries. While recovering, Weather is able to use his abilities when Foo Fighters becomes too dehydrated. Unfortunately, Foo Fighters is ultimately killed by Enrico Pucci, gaining the powers of the mysterious green baby. Simultaneously, Weather gains a distinctive Joestar birthmark and joins Anasui to break out of Green Dolphin Street and meet up with Jolene. Outside of the prison, Weather and Anasui are pursued by police. He uses his power to help an old man who, in turn, gives him a ride on his truck. Anasui notices that fictional characters have begun disappearing from the guidebook he is reading. Anasui uses his stand to interrogate a now real-life Pinocchio. Weather and Anasui quickly realize that this is the work of an enemy's stand, with many fictional characters now coming to life. Weather and Anasui are separated by the stand, with the truck crashing. Weather uses his abilities to save everyone from harm. While walking the streets, Weather meets the personification of Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait. The enemy stand Bohemian Rhapsody not only brings characters to life, but forces its enemies to live out the stories of these characters. Weather quickly becomes agitated by Van Gogh, who then tells Weather that he has taken the place of Van Gogh, as he is then shot, recreating Van Gogh's death. Weather, panicking, accidentally runs back to Anasui. Just as Weather is about to be killed by reliving Van Gogh's fate, he forces Van Gogh to create a new character who puts back all fictional characters into their stories. Bohemian Rhapsody is defeated, with all of the fictional characters now gone. Weather and Anasui eventually reach the hospital, where he senses Pucci's presence. Suddenly, his memory disk is given to him by the stand Underworld. Weather almost instantly changes his personality. With his memories back, he is now full of rage, causing chaos outside the hospital. Weather now seeks out Enrico to kill him. His dormant ability, Heavy Weather, activates, causing chaos as everyone in the surrounding area believes they are turning into snails. Weather and Anasui catch up with Pucci. Pucci then reveals he is invulnerable to heavy weather, as he has removed his sight, causing him to be immune to the effects of the subliminal messaging. As he attempts to deliver the finishing blow against Pucci, a car carrying Jolene, Hermes, Emporio, and Versus crashes, separating Pucci and Weather. Weather Report is ultimately killed by Pucci, who puts his stand Whitesnake's hand through his chest. In one last act, he is able to give his stand disc to Jolene's group. Later, this act ultimately saves the entire universe, as Emporio tricks Pucci into inserting Weather's stand disc into him, who then kills him with it, resetting the universe into a brighter future where the events of Stone Ocean never happened. Weather is reincarnated as a hitchhiker, and joins the newly revived group in this new wonderful world. Abilities. Weather Report uses the stand also called Weather Report. This stand enables him to manipulate the weather in a variety of ways. The ability of weather manipulation is left intentionally broad, but anything that falls under the human definition of weather phenomena counts towards Weather Report's abilities. Examples include wind and temperature manipulation on a large and small scale. He is able to run electrical currents throughout his body, allowing him partial control of people's bodies when touched, as shown in a manga-exclusive scene. His control of the weather can also cause extremely unlikely meteorological events, such as a rain of poisonous frogs. His manipulation of oxygen is ultimately used to kill Enrico Pucci by increasing his oxygen levels to poisonous levels in tandem with Pucci's time acceleration abilities. Heavy Weather is Weather's secondary ability, originally hidden to himself because of his amnesia. Using Weather Report's regular water vapor manipulation, it causes rainbows to appear that cause victims to suffer a subliminal effect. As Pucci explains, images are hidden within the rainbows that are only noticeable subconsciously. Once a human or animal is exposed to these subliminal images, they begin to transform into a snail. Whether or not Heavy Weather's subliminal transformation is a physical transformation or simply is an illusion is never fully stated, but functionally in the story, either explanation is plausible. Any contact with a snail will begin the metamorphosis with their body, contorting slowly into a snail, as well as gaining the weaknesses of snails, such as salt or their natural predators. The snails reproduce rapidly, causing the city to become swarmed extremely fast. Not receiving the subliminal messaging, such as by being blind, protects you from Heavy Weather's effect. Trivia. Weather Report, like most other characters throughout JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, has a plethora of references to real-life media through different aspects of his character. Weather Report's namesake comes from an American progressive jazz band of the same name, originally created in 1970. Often stand names have abilities related to the music they reference, and Weather Report might just be the most on-the-nose ability name in the whole series. His secondary ability, Heavy Weather, is originated from Weather Report's 7th album, unsurprisingly called Heavy Weather, released in 1977. It was their most successful album, and with weather also being in the name, it makes sense why Araki would choose this album title as the ability name. Many Part 6 characters reference fashion in the namesakes, shown here in Weather's original names, his birth name, Domenico Pucci, as well as his adopted name, Wes Bloomerine. Domenico Pucci is a combination of Domenico Dois and Emilio Pucci, both famous fashion designers, while Bloomerine in Wes Bloomerine is a fashion line created by Italian fashion brand Bluefin. Weather's iconic hat appears to be based off the cover for British funk band Jamiroquai's single, Virtual Insanity, which features a silhouette of a man with horns coming out of his head. This has sparked several fan AMVs to be created set to the song. Eventually, a very popular animation was mentioned on the official Jamiroquai's Twitter account, praising it for its creativity. Weather Report has been voiced by multiple different people. His original Japanese voice, used for the original All-Star Battle and Eyes of Heaven video games, Toru Okawa, is known for other JoJo voice roles, as both the narrator in the anime and Joseph Joestar in Heritage for the Future. In modern appearances, Weather is voiced by Yuichiro Umihara, while the English dub is voiced by Stephen Fu. To avoid copyright issues, English releases of JoJo often replace direct references with pseudo-references. Weather Report is changed to Weather Forecast, Heavy Weather is changed to Heavy Forecast, and Wes Bloomerine is changed to Wes Aquamarine. Weather Report appears as a DLC playable character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R and Eyes of Heaven. Many of his attacks take inspiration from both the Street Fighter and Darkstalkers series. He is also a stage hazard in the Green Dolphin Street prison stage, causing poison frogs to rain from the sky. Weather appears in the mobile game Monster Strike as a limited-time collaboration character. His final playable game appearance is in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Last Survivor arcade battle royale game, where he is able to use many of his iconic attacks. Thank you for watching the first episode of JoJo Character Bios. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel as we bring you the latest JoJo content. Tell us in the comments below what character you would like to see a bio of next. This is JoJo Overdrive, signing off.
Shake it like it's heat, overdrive. Coming through now. Coming through now. Coming through. Watch where you're going, overdrive. Let the downside up to top notch, what I'm here to do.